Hello, welcome back to Coding with Kyle. We're going to go ahead and go through another Scratch feature. And this student, Bo, is making a feature that is currency. So the feature which manages and counts your coins, money, gems, etc. so you can buy things at a shop. Okay, cool. This is the first shop feature. Where does the feature go? It's probably going to go into Sprite where you'll pick it up when you defeat an enemy. Yes, that's part of it for sure. There's also going to be code in the background that will have to be there to manage how much of a currency you have over time, and then we'll also need some way to pull up a shop. All right, so what does your feature need to do? It needs to count the money that you have. Make sure to give money when you kill an enemy. Take away money when you buy an item. Yeah, so those are pretty big main things. So this idea of currencies is actually kind of multiple features. So there's the feature of collecting currency. There's the feature of buying items, and then there's the feature of enemy drops. So each of these things is are actually kind of separate features themselves. And what we need to do is break these down further into the programming steps that we're going to do for them. So let's open up Scratch and just start going at it here. And let's just focus on one of these. So let's focus on making sure to give money when you kill an enemy. So an enemy is defeated, they need to drop an amount of money, and then you need to be able, we'll also do the count the money. So the player will be able to collect the money, and then it will store it. And then buying items from a shop, that'll be part of a different feature video. Okay, so let's go ahead and start this. Let's go ahead and change our sprite to player. And since we're going to be defeating an enemy, we need to go ahead and add an enemy. So let's go ahead and fight this bat. This bat just became our enemy. It's a nice bat though. He didn't do anything wrong. He didn't choose the enemy life. The enemy life chose him. Alright, so there's our bat, and then we also need some type of currency. So maybe a coin. Nope, there's no coins here. What about a gem? Wow. Okay, so what do we want to use for currency? We could use anything. We could use apples. Apples could be our currency. That'd be kind of funny. We could find a picture of a gem online and upload it. So far, the apple's my favorite. We could use muffins, maybe. I think the apple's still my favorite. Could use a strawberry. We could have a currency of strawberries and apples. We're gonna have two currencies, strawberries and apples. We're gonna collect different fruits, and then we're gonna trade fruits with the shop. This will be great. Okay. So like you might have multiple currencies, like different powers of gems, right? Like maybe a sapphire gem is worth more than a ruby, or if you have money, $50 is worth more than $10. You can just stick with gold coins. And we'll just keep this called strawberry and apple. All right, so we have these. So this is what we're going to work with. A couple things that we need to do is we're going to create a little bit of a UI actually, where we can show the currency to the user. So we need to decrease the size of this, maybe not that far. This will be good. Okay, and let's put it at maybe at the bottom of our screen. This will show how much they're collecting. So I'm going to change the size of the apple to 40 as well. And the apple is actually a little smaller than the strawberry, so maybe we make the strawberry, that looks a little bit more the same size. Cool. All right, so those are going to be there. And for this backdrop, I'm going to go ahead, this will be our main backdrop, and I'm going to go ahead and draw a line on here. Should be about there. I could go a little lower. Get rid of this dot. Erase by dot. Okay. Maybe that's I wish that was a straight line. Let's try again with the rectangle. Perfect. Okay. This is going to be our UI, and it actually looks really cool as the rectangle. Cool. And now we can go ahead and we're going to put that strawberry kind of like right in there and put the apple right in there. Cool. Okay. Let's go back to our code. So we have this idea of a UI where we're going to track stuff here. So first thing we need to do is go into backdrops, and whenever we're working with variables, we need to start off with code in our backdrop. The rest of the stage can be white. So let's fill it. Does that work? There we go. Okay. Cool. So we go to backdrops, we go to code, and we need variables to keep track of our currency. So currency is a number that we need to keep track of. So whenever the green flag is pressed, we always have to set our variables in the background. So we're going to make a variable, and our currency, this one is going to be called strawberry, or strawberries, I guess, since we can have more than one. And then we're also going to need apples, and you can make your currency whatever you want. Whenever we click the green flag, the player is starting a new game, so we need to set strawberries and apples to 0. And we can go ahead and show them. And here, we can drag these down in this bar down here. So this will be the amount of strawberries and apples. That's as far down as it can go. This one can move our apple a little over. There we go. Okay. So keep track of that down there. Set those to 0. Make sure that we always put a stop to the script, no dangling puzzle pieces. And okay, so now our player needs to defeat this enemy, and when the enemy's HP goes to 0, we need to drop something. So let's go ahead back to the backdrop. We'll create another variable for enemy HP, and we need to make sure that we set that to whatever we wanted to start with. So maybe this will be 20. And you probably want to hide, I don't think I've showed this in another video, so I'll do it here real quick. You probably want to hide the enemy HP until the enemy is available. So we're going to hide the enemy HP. And then, and I guess we just set it to 0 since there's no enemies. And then we'll say, whenever the green flag is pressed, we'll start our game. And we'll go ahead and wait 5 seconds before the enemy shows up. So this enemy is going to be hidden. After 5 seconds, it will show up. And then we're going to go ahead and set the enemy HP when it shows up to 20 for this one. And so you can have enemies hide and then show up whenever you want to. And we're just waiting a certain amount of time. But let's say you have an enemy that spawns in a room. You can check out the video for switching between rooms. And then once you go into the room, you can cast a message that says broadcast switch room or broadcast enemy in this room or something that triggers. And then this will say, instead of when the green flag is pressed, it will say whenever I receive entered enemy room, then it will do this. It'll wait for 5 seconds, and show up and set the enemy HP. You just need to change what the trigger is from the green flag to some other event. Make sure to put a stop the script at the end so we don't have any dangling puzzle pieces. Cool, so it's going to show up, and then we can go ahead and the player will need to attack the enemy real quick, so we'll just put a very simple thing for the player attack that says whenever the player presses the space key, they're going to damage the enemy. So we'll change the enemy HP by 5, and for your player attacks, you can check out some of the player attack videos that I have, and that'll go more in depth into different attacks that you can do. So when you hit the space bar, the enemy HP will go down, and then the enemy will need to detect when the enemy HP is 0. So before this script, we will add a forever loop around it. And forever, once the enemy shows up, we want to check if not sure if we'll need this if or not. Yeah. All right, keep the stop this script inside of the if part. So we want to check if the enemy HP is less than 1. If the enemy HP is less than 1, then that means it's 0 or lower than 0, and that means that the enemy has been defeated. So if the enemy HP is less than 0, then they have been defeated. And we're going to broadcast a message that says enemy defeated. And since we want all of our enemies to drop gems, now these gems will create a duplicate one that'll spawn around the enemy, that will spawn around the enemy, and it can be a random number. So after the enemy is defeated, we probably want them, we probably can just change the costume of it, right? So what if we do, that kind of looks like it's dead. Oh, we don't want a square. We want to take it and rotate it so it's on its side, and this will be our dead costume, or defeated costume. Yeah, defeated. And this is our main bat. So we change the looks, and we will switch the costume to the defeated bat. Okay. And whenever the green flag is pressed, whenever we show it, right before showing it, we want to make sure that we switch the costume to the main bat. Okay, cool. So now, the strawberries, what they need to do is whenever we receive a signal saying that an enemy is defeated, we need to make some more of these, we need to make some of these spawn, essentially. So what we're going to do is when I receive enemy defeated, we're going to create a clone of the strawberry. So right now the strawberries are just down there, but we want to, we're going to use them, we're going to keep them down there, and then just clone them to make them appear up there. And so we're going to make some spawn just by having this one sprite. So that way we don't have to continually keep remaking these sprites. So we create a clone of myself, and then we put a stop the script to end the script. And now we need to do something when it starts as a clone. So whenever it starts as a clone, we need it to go to a certain position. So that's motion, needs to go to, and it's going to go to the enemy that spawned. Or you know what, maybe it just appears around the page. Maybe it goes to a random position. That could be fun. It'll go to a random position, and the clones will be able to be picked up, but the originals can't. So it goes to a random position, Yeah, and then it just waits forever. It needs to check if it's come in contact with the player, right? So if the strawberry is touching the player, then we need it to be picked up. So then we're going to say that, so looks, it's going to have to hide because it'll get picked up, so it's going to go away. And then we need to change the variables. So this one's the strawberry, so we need to change the amount of strawberries that the player has by 1. So that will increase our strawberry count. And then this is very important as well. We need to put a stop this script here. And what this is going to do is it's going to say the reason we want to stop the script is because we don't want a bunch of strawberries spawning and then still trying to run even though we can't interact with them, because that's going to use a lot of our processing power and potentially crash the program. Okay, so this, we hit the green flag. After 3 seconds, 5 seconds, whatever, what did we say? An amount of time the enemy shows up. And we slightly messed up. So whenever the enemy shows up, we also need to show the enemy HP. We're setting it to 20, but we didn't show it. So let's go ahead and show enemy HP. So let's try it again. Green flag, wait 5 seconds, switch the costume of the bat to main, show the bat, set the enemy HP to 20, and show that it's 20. Now, the player, whenever I hit the space bar, is going to change the health by +5. Let's change it to -5, so it does 5 damage. There we go. So now we click 5, boom, 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 and now it's at 0. The enemy HP is less than 1 because 0 is less than 1, so we broadcast the message that the enemy has been defeated. We switch the enemy's costume to the defeated one, stop this script, and now the strawberry says, hey, an enemy's been defeated. I've received this message, so I'm going to create a clone, and this clone is going to spawn at a random position. Now if we move the player over the strawberry, the player will pick it up, and our strawberries go up by 1. So that's the basic part of the enemies dropping items and then you picking them up. So now what we want to do though is we want to make more clones of the strawberry. So we want to make a random amount of clones. So let's look at operators and let's see. So pick a random between 1 and 10. So for the bats, so we have to decide actually the random number. How much do we want to spawn? Maybe we do between like 4, yeah, maybe we do 1 to 10 strawberries. So pick one random number between 1 to 10. And so there's this cool type of forever loop that says repeats X amount of times. So what we're going to do, stop the script goes at the bottom. So we're going to create a clone of myself 10 times, but instead of creating a clone of the strawberry 10 times, we're going to have it pick a random number between 1 and 10, and it's going to clone itself a random number. So we click on the green flag. Our enemy shows up after 5 seconds. Boom, boom, boom. We defeat our enemy. And look, I just got 5 strawberries that I can pick up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And after we pick up each one, it says hide the thing, change strawberries, go up by 1, and then stop this script so that way the clone is no longer running. And let's go ahead and try it again. And let's see if we get a different number than 5. What number we get this time? 1, 2. Oh, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And actually 8 of them. Oh, there's one. So we got 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 on the screen that I see. But strawberries went up by 1, which means one of them spawned on top of us. So now we can move around and collect all of the strawberries. And so all we're going to do for the apple code is we're going to just copy all of this. So we're going to drag and drop it in the apple, drag and drop it in the apple, and we're going to go here, and it's going to be the same exact code because it's also spawning. But what we want to do is say maybe apples are more rare. So we're going to pick a random number between 1 and 3 instead. So now I spawn the bats, boom, 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 got it. Now I have 1, 2, 3, 4. It looks like I have a lot of strawberries and 3. Oh, I got all 3 apples. Nice. Great drop. So I somehow got, 13 strawberries and no apples. That's because we're changing strawberries by 1, and for apples, we need to make sure we change apples by 1. This is why we test things. Okay, boom, 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 boom. Got it. There's an apple, strawberry, 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 apple. Let's see, what did I get? I got 8 strawberries and 2 apples. Oh wait, is there one hidden? Oh, there's one hidden right there in the UI. Nice. Alrighty. And so that's how you do that. The other thing you can do, I guess one last point, is this pick a random number. Maybe you want the drops for items to change based on different enemies. So what you can do is in this enemy, we'll create another variable, and we're going to call this drop min, and create another variable called drop max. And whenever we create variables, we need to go to the background. We need to set them to something. And then we don't want these visible, so we're going to hide them. So hide drop max and hide drop min. Now under our enemy, what we can do is we can set the drop min and the drop max. And this is going to be the max amount that we want a certain item to spawn. So right when we set the enemy HP, we can set the drop min to 3 maybe, and we'll set the drop max to 15. And let's actually do 10 to 15. Let's do 11 to 15. So that way we know for sure for strawberries that it's working. Okay, and I somehow accidentally clicked off apples there. We definitely want that to be visible. Okay, so we set the drop min and drop max. Now in strawberry, you see where it says pick a random number between 1 to 10? Well, now we can say pick a random number between the drop minimum and the drop maximum. So now instead of 1 to 10, it's going to be 10 to 15 or 11 to 15 for the enemy. Okay, and so now if we were to duplicate this enemy, and let's say that instead of enemy 2, this is going to be this will be a boss enemy. You can call it the boss. We'll have it wait 20 seconds for our code, and maybe we set the drop min for the boss to 20 and the drop max to 50. That'll be a lot of strawberries. So now the bosses, the enemy types, can control how much loot they drop. So let's go ahead and test this. Green flag, our program starts. After 5 seconds, the first bat shows up. Boom, 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 boom. Got it. And I got a lot of loot here. Nice. Let's see how much I got in all. 15 strawberries and 2 apples, the max. And now our boss is here because we told him to show up after 20 seconds. It's also at 20 health. And now we got a lot of spawn. So we got the full amount of strawberries before. We had 15. And I think our minimum is 20. So let's see. 33 minus 15 is... what's 33? Sorry. That should be 18. So that's a little less than our boss min. So I'm probably missing 2 somewhere. They're probably hidden in the UI. Yeah, because it'll still set the drop min and max. And just to test to make sure it's working, we can show the drop min and max. So we'll test it one more time just because it shows a random amount. So Don't add the show to your code, but we can all, well, whenever you want to test stuff, it's good to show the variables sometimes if you're not sure how they're behaving. But let's go ahead and start again. And we probably just got like a randomly low number. All right, our first enemy, take them out. Boom, boom. And we didn't show the drop min there. All right, I got 1 apple and 14 strawberries. And now the drop min and max changed to 20 and 50, so we know that that worked correctly. And that's a lot more strawberries. There we go. I get them all? Yep. So there you go. I feel like there's some could be hidden down here. That's how you do the different loop. All right, cool. I'm going to go ahead and end this feature. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll continue with a follow-up feature on how to spend items at the store.